when people ask about the show, they always say, well, how do you shoot in all these different locations? And when you actually tell them, oh no, the entire show, with the exception of 4 scenes over 80 hours, has been shot in Honolulu and on the island of Oahu, they're stunned. I mean, they can't believe it.
Action! Camera!
This is probably the most ideal place for us to shoot the show.
There were 3 choices when we were first talking about where we were going to shoot the show. It was essentially LA, New Zealand, or Hawaii. Fundamentally, it just felt like if you're setting a show on an island in the South Pacific, you should shoot the show on an island in the South Pacific.
Honolulu is known as the production center of the tropics, with infrastructure and talent, so there's an amazing amount of possibilities, and Lost has certainly helped us see that.
One of the biggest challenges is that it's sort of like, oh, you're in Hawaii, everything's great, and it is great, but it's a lot of work.
Action! Book and spread out around her. Go, guys. Spread out on the hill. Roll, please.
The beautiful thing about Hawaii is that the whole world is there for you. The world that your character is actually functioning in is a real world.
Terrific. Thank you for a good morning, if this is a morning.
The fact that we have the jungle and the fact that we have the ocean, I mean, those are the 2 basic things for the palette of our show.
This area is called Police Beach. It's located on the north side of the island of Oahu.
It's a bit of a challenge filming here because all the beaches in Hawaii are public and there's public access to all the beaches.
Because it's civilized, it is sort of a challenge to make the Oahu beaches around here look deserted and like it's a remote island.
Hey, what are you guys doing? Sweeping out tracks so they're not in the shot.
We make it look pristine, but it doesn't start out that way.
You gotta be able to run through the decisions made on the location.
Beach camp, as simple as it is, it's so stunning. You're sitting there and you're looking out and you see sea turtles kind of surfing, you know, amongst the rocks, and you realize this is where we are, like this is where we're doing this.
Nice day for a swim.
What are you doing here?
I'm spoiled. I'm never gonna work anywhere else. That's it. It's beautiful.
Lunchtime's where it's at, though. That's where you get the real action.
Where's that?
Blockhouse.
Our encampment is next to Haleiwa, the surfing capital of the world.
This is the best advantage of working on this show, is that we get to surf at lunch.
This is hard work.
Until Lost came along, oftentimes Hawaii was perceived as just a place to do beach party movies and bikini movies. And the thing that is so much fun about Lost is that we turn Hawaii into every place in the world.
Is this your first time in Tunisia?
All the way back to season 1, where Sawyer was walking along a pier in Sydney and the Opera House was in the distance, we tried to do it in a subtle way, but always put our characters in the world they're in, and always believe that world.
And cut.
We're on the west side of Oahu. This is Boy Aggregates. It's a coral mine or quarry. This is going to be our desert. We've been here once before when we found the remains of the polar bear. And it worked so well that time, we're back to the Blue Desert with Ben out here on horseback.
We're in the desert somewhere. We're in one of God's only deserts as Lost creates them. It's very hot and very dry and very dusty. It's like a desert of the imagination.
Yeah!
We had like big industrial fans. It was a fun day. I got a lot of movie sand up my nostrils, and it made me feel really beautiful.
Something in my eye.
Bollocks! It was really cool. It was really authentic. And then in post, they put in the dunes in the background.
Visual effects is important for transforming Hawaii. We've been helping the production company fill out Oahu to get all the extra locations we needed. Just about every show I work on now, there's something you're changing, something you're adding.
Our visual effects department is so talented, and that, you know, we basically kind of feel comfortable writing any location for the show.
In many cases, we do a downtown sequence, whether or not it's Korea or it's Berlin, we will drop in a cityscape. If we're looking out windows, then there's usually a good cut line that they can actually map that in.
We shot the Berlin scene for Saeed. We were downtown, which is doubled for a lot of different places.
What sort of business brings you to Berlin?
Downtown Honolulu seems like it's about 20 square blocks, if that. So that really is our city area, if you will.
We just transformed this restaurant upstairs into a Berlin cafe. We end up creating a theme. We got a name for the restaurant called The Wall. And of course then we added snow outside the windows. And as we go around the corner, when you see the street, it should be pretty convincing.
I remember seeing the set and they'd they had snow everywhere.
There's about 12 tons of ice right now that we're fanning out on the roadside here. This street was specifically chosen for the architecture. Here we have some facades that actually echo a lot of international flair.
Looks like Berlin to me.
Yeah.
Signage for the art department is always a difficult process because every country does their signage a little different.
In Korea, we created quite a bit of signage on the street.
All the signs were in Korean. They all made grammatical sense. They were all, you know, carefully done. And that attention to detail, I think, is much appreciated, not only by us, but by the people who watch the show.
There's some waterways and canals just outside of Chinatown. So that is what we've established as Korea. When we've done England, there's a street called Fort Street Mall. It has cobblestone, it has old buildings, it has a good look for us.
They do some impressive stuff. They wrap bark around palm trees. That was one of my favorite details.
So we're here at the Cathedral Church of St. Andrew in downtown Honolulu. It has a lot of cut stone. A lot of it was made when the missionaries came here, so it's very old. The only challenges of this place is we are in the middle of downtown Honolulu, so it's very busy. Lots of cars and noise going on, so that's one thing we have to work around.
Sorry, are you Daniel Faraday?
That location's been used a lot. It was also the monastery.
And we've used it all the way back to The Moth, where we first met Charlie and his brother.
We've done things with Mr. Echo walking around in the church hallways here. The building has lots of looks.
Backlot action!
Yeah. Pretty hot today. These guys are being this stuff. Pretty hot.
Pretty nice, huh? Like that?
Yeah, check it out.
I'm very hot. It's extremely hot.
Background extras on Lost are a big part of the picture. If they don't look real and they don't act real, the audience isn't going to buy it.
Meet me out on the steps out there at the end of the wall. They've done really, really amazing things with transforming this beautiful island into many, many different places.
So here we are in Honolulu, cheating it for the Port of Suba.
We need every single body we have here today to help us achieve the look of a very busy port. Unfortunately, we only have 25 people, but we're going to do our best. This will be your station. You're going to make your special Fijian salad that starts with tomatoes over here. Have you operated a knife before? Uh-huh. Awesome.
It looks great. I felt like I've never been to Fiji, but I felt like I was in Malaysia or Thailand or somewhere. It's lovely. They've done a great job.
The city of Honolulu has worked beautifully for us for 4 seasons now. I mean, they just did, in 409, our team did an amazing job creating a rack.
For our research, we pulled from the internet. One of the best sources actually to go to the military soldiers' blog sites when they post their photography. So you get a real sense of the reality.
After looking at the research, we noticed that a lot of the Iraq buildings were these 3-story buildings. Well, behind Honolulu College, we found buildings that were a perfect match. The Iraq transformation was a couple of city blocks, and I think that's one of the larger sets that Lost has put together.
In this particular case, we're actually building a small town square. These buildings over here in back of you are scheduled for demolition, so that gives us an opportunity to distress the buildings that are already kind of halfway there. And then in back of these buildings will be an alleyway, which will have a chase scene through there too. We'll have an army of people in here in the next few days, and most likely work right through the weekend.
There was a nice pocket in between 2 buildings where we were able to create a large Iraq arch, and that was sort of our grounding icon.
We got stuff that we can hang over the balcony. I'm always putting all the air conditioning units already.
Great.
So we got a bunch of stuff that we're gonna lay out. So after lunch we're gonna dress it, and if you guys see if it's overdressed, just let us know what you want pulled off.
You have what? 4 days.
Sounds like a plan.
There we go.
This is our set dressing warehouse.
Locations picks great locations for us, and then our job is to bring it alive. And what we try to do is try to see what makes it foreign.
Did you want to make trunks?
I think some trunks. I think some trunks will be good. Yeah. You have to believe instantaneously that you're in Iraq. We have Iraqi signage. The minute you see the place, the viewer has to believe where you are.
Rubble for the Iraqi village, I guess, and we've got our friends at Island Demo who happen to have some rubble they're not using. We're going to take to our location in this extremely large truck.
They needed debris, concrete debris, and I was like, for what? But it's all good.
Today we're putting in rubble, we're putting in dead cars, the vehicles are coming.
Good job, man.
Welcome to Iraq.
To work on this set today feels palpably like being in a foreign place. The costumes alone are astonishing, and it helps us so much when there is that feeling of otherness or alienness.
All right, folks, big truck coming through.
Just about anything that that's not Hawaii or not in the jungle doesn't have a lot of green on it, and that's what we do. Just keep the green out. And when we're back on the island, we use a lot of green, saturated green.
We did 109 setups in Iraq, and I just wanted it to have a very gritty, real feel. And I think because of the canvas the art department created for me, it was just all there.
Lost is about how can we make it different and new and look like a feature film. For us, the challenge is what makes it fun.
Oahu is like kind of an amazing island because, you know, when people think of Oahu, they think of Honolulu and Waikiki. But the second you drive, 20 minutes in any direction outside of the city, you're back into the tropics.
We're shooting in Manoa, out by the bird sanctuary, which is where Kate and Sawyer were locked in those cages. It's easy! All right, here we are on the Orchid. First, let me, now I can see things a lot better. The Orchid.
The Orchid is Station 6, and it's a huge botanical warehouse. The sheer scale of these sets, when you see them, you'll be quite amazed at how a group of guys can, in 2 weeks, fabricate such a huge set out in the middle of the jungle.
We have jungle all around, encroaching right into the set.
It's got a lot of nice greenery that we've incorporated into the set. Instead of chopping it all down and hacking it all down, we're sort of building the set around these green areas.
I don't know what this is made out of, but it's not made of iron the way, oh, and it only goes through that. This might be carved out of plastic or wood or something. This might be wooden. It's all fake. We've had a lot of rain, especially today. We've been collecting it in our rusty bucket.
This is a challenge just because of the weather, particularly in the Manoa Valley, where it rains and sun, and it can change in like minutes.
The only thing wetter than working in Manoa is working inside the ocean. Open-toed shoes in Manoa is a bad idea.
What's really been great about the show is the crew is far more amazing than any of us could have ever imagined. And they know this island so well, and they know this world so well, and the show would never be able to get done without that team.
People of Hawaii have been wonderful for the production. Kind and welcoming, and we've had a nice time here.
We rely so much on the people of Oahu to make our show, and we consider the people of the island to be part of our family, and I think they've grown over time to consider Lost a part of their family.
It is that aloha spirit that we're known for, and they do extend that to film crews.
We are all thankful for each and every one of you. So
Hawaii likes to say we're Hollywood's tropical backlot. Now, after 4 years of Lost, I think we've proved that we can be a lot more than that.
The fact that we've managed to stay here for 4 seasons now and be all over the world, that's a really great thing.
Every week you sit there and showcase what's another interesting, different way that the island can be photographed or seen.
I think Hawaii is the only place we can be.
I think that Hawaii has worked beautifully for us, and it's also the talents of our team that execute it in a way that make it work.